Hello, viewers, and welcome to this edition of Global Vibes. The show feels the pulse of the vibrant multicultural community of Thunder Bay. My guest today is Annissea Hopkins, a businesswoman, an educator, and a longtime resident of Thunder Bay. Please join me in warmly welcoming Annissea. Thank you so much for your time, Annissea, and we really warmly welcome you to the show. Thank you. Thank you for sharing your reflections on the Black History Month, which is the annual observance in February that commemorates African American history. So, we are very keen to know what is the historical context of this celebration and why is February its designated month?
Well, thank you for having me and giving me the opportunity to share with you some information and knowledge about Black History Month. And like you mentioned, it is an annual observance that it was originated in the United States of America. The point of it was to dedicate and promoting the achievements by Black Americans and other people of African descent. Okay, it is not only recognized just in the United States; it is also recognized in Ireland, the Netherlands, the UK, and of course Canada. So it is recognized here as well. So the origin of Black History Month, it dates back to 1915. Okay, so that was 1915, so a half a century after the 13th Amendment abolished slavery in the United States. Right, that year, Dr. Carter Woodson, who was a Black scholar, founded the Association for the Study of Negro Life and History, the ASNLH. Okay, so this organization was dedicated to promoting achievements by Black Americans and other people of African descent. In 1926, the ASNLH decided to sponsor a National Negro History Week. There's a long history when it comes to Black History Month, and I did take some notes because we don't want to forget anything.
Absolutely.
So the second week of February was chosen as a time, and this time was chosen as it coincides with the birthdays of Abraham Lincoln and Black scholar Frederick Douglass. Okay, both of which were pivotal figures in Black history. The event inspired schools and communities nationwide to organize local celebrations, establish history clubs, and host performances and lectures. By 1929, Negro History Week was met with enthusiasm. Black history clubs were created, and the event gained the interest of teachers and progressive white Americans. Okay. By the late 1960s, thanks in part to the Civil Rights Movement and a growing awareness of Black identity, Negro History Week had evolved into Black History Month on many college campuses. And it was in 1976 that President Gerald Ford officially recognized Black History Month. Now, there's a lot of information there, but this is like the stuff that we need to get out so we can talk about our beautiful month that we have. Okay, so Ford called upon the public to seize the opportunity to honor the too often neglected accomplishments of Black Americans in every area throughout history. Since then, every American president has designated February as Black History Month. And it was in 1979 when Toronto became the first municipality in Canada to proclaim Black History Month throughout the efforts of many individuals and organizations, such as the Ontario Black History Society. Okay. And in 1995, Toronto area MP Jean Augustine introduced a motion which was passed. It was unanimously passed by the House of Commons recognizing Black History Month across Canada. So that wasn't until 1995 that it was recognized in Canada, Black History Month.
Excellent. Thank you so much for this historical context. I mean, just setting our talks for today. And it's such, like you said, it is important information. I wonder, our schools and are they teaching about the importance of the Black History Month? Is it included in their curriculum or academics?
It is not currently included in the curriculum. I will give credit to. I am only involved with the Lakehead Board of Education because that is where my daughter goes, and they have always been very open to receiving any information or education that we have been able to offer them during Black History Month. So in previous years, when my daughter was in grade school, we did celebrate by bringing in carnival costumes
Mhm.
and food that we enjoy. And the teachers that my daughter had were always very open to have that experience. And now that she's in high school, the principal of her high school said very welcomely to bring in or let us know what's happening in the community.
Awesome.
But in terms of formal education in the schools, that's not happening yet. And that is unfortunate.
And is that your daughter in the background, in the picture up there? Is that
That is a
Jen-
picture of Jendea. Yes.
Jendaya?
Yes.
Okay. Um, what does the annual celebration of Black History Month mean to you, Annissea?
Well, Black
What
history.
does it evoke in you?
Well, first and foremost, when you talk about what it evokes in me is a sense of pride. Um, and I just have to backtrack a little bit. When we talk about Black history, there is a movement that's going on currently in light of the Black Lives Matter movement. And what is happening is we don't want to focus on history. Let's focus on today and moving forward and making things better in life for almost recreating history, for lack of a better way of explaining it, to make things better for our children and grandchildren. But the answer to your question in terms of what this month means to me, it's definitely a sense of pride, and it always has been. One of the things I love about Black History Month is the interest in throughout the community. I will have people ask me questions about celebrations we're having. I have a friend that was doing a lot of research. She homeschools her child and she wanted to know what books she could get, and specifically what books she can get linked to Canadian Black history. And I love to always share that information with people to the best of my knowledge. Sometimes I have to research things because people come up with some pretty tricky questions of things they want to know, as well as children. It's amazing the questions that they'll have about Black history and what being Black truly means. So a sense of pride would be the first thing that definitely comes to my mind when it comes to the month of February in Black history.
Awesome. Now, Anissa would like to know about when did Thunder Bay become your home?
I was born and raised in Thunder Bay. I was born at McKellar Hospital way back in 1972.
Mhm.
So Thunder
Just
Bay,
gave away your age.
yeah, I'm okay with that. Aging is a great thing. So that is when Thunder Bay has always been my home. I left Thunder Bay for a short while to receive some education that I couldn't get in Thunder Bay, and that was way back in 1995. And I quickly returned back home to Thunder Bay after that. Yeah.
So as a conversation starter, do you ever get to ask, where are you from? Or rather, where are you actually from? Okay. You
let
get
me
that
tell you
question
let me
often?
tell you about that question, where are you from? So it's happened more often than not. I will meet somebody perhaps for the first time, or I might be at a gathering and that question comes up. Oh, so where were you born? And I say, I was born at McKellar Hospital. No, 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 like really, like where? Like where? No, no, that people are just flabbergasted by the fact that I was born and raised in Thunder Bay. I don't know in terms of true history of African American families settling in Thunder Bay, but I like to believe that my family would be one of the first families. Um,
See.
yeah. I think there's probably, I want to give respect and acknowledge that there's probably about half a dozen families that may have been in Thunder Bay for as long as my family has. But I feel as though I am one of the originals, saying because I was born and raised here.
Right. Wow, that's quite a journey.
Mhm.
But the community has evolved, right? Since your move here
Yeah.
in '69.
Yeah, yeah. So my family moved here in 1969, and I often wish that my parents were still alive to see how much the community has changed. I remember growing up as a young child, and my parents would want to make, their traditional foods, whether it be souse and pepper pot and curries. They couldn't get the ingredients in Thunder Bay.
Uh-huh.
Now I can go to locally owned stores to access the ingredients for dishes I like to make, or I can go to the bigger supermarkets to get stuff. The town has changed a lot. It definitely has. It is way more diverse, and I would say within the last probably 10 years than it has ever been, and it's incredible to see.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So in terms of adjustments, adaptability, that does not matter to you. It does not, that's not an issue at all. You were born here.
Yeah, you know what? And interestingly enough, like the adjustment that I would say that I had to make was seeing more people that look like me in my community, which
Mhm.
is a fantastic thing. But when you're born and raised in a community of primarily white people, Caucasian people, and you don't see anybody that looks like you, that has some of those family values and beliefs that you were raised with, it's somewhat of a challenge, I guess, is, over the years it could have proposed to be. But now to see more people of African American descent or people from the BIPOC community, the Black and Indigenous people of color, that is reflected in Thunder Bay is an amazing thing. Yeah.
And with regards to your association, like you said, the community has grown, and there is an association now, right?
There
Command.
is.
There is an association that, yeah, and they are behind celebrating the Black History Month.
Yes, yes, absolutely. So CAMAT is the name of the local association in Thunder Bay,
Mhm.
CAMAT being the Caribbean African Multicultural Association of Thunder Bay. And I also need to acknowledge AFCASA, which exists at Lakehead University. So that's
Ah,
the African Caribbean Union that exists at Lakehead University. And also in Thunder Bay, so we do have CAMAT, we have AFCASA, and there's also a group of Francophone people that are of African Caribbean descent as well.
oh,
So,
I see.
yeah,
Right.
so yeah, we have not just the one, we have a few groups of,
Wow.
yeah,
I wasn't aware of that. I was aware about the CAMAT and the annual the gala dinner that you have, that you guys
yes,
host with the
yeah,
traditional food and dancing, and there's a fashion show, right? You're showcasing cultural,
yeah.
yeah, fashion shows.
Yeah, often with the Black History Month gala. So the galas could be the kickoff to Black History
Right.
Month or the end of Black History Month.
Ah, okay.
Unfortunately, this year everything is virtual. In like the pandemic, we haven't been able to have face-to-face stuff, but we've had beautiful things happening online, which has been fantastic. Yeah.
So yeah, if we would like to know more about the activities happening throughout the month, we go to the website kamatnetwork.com just
That's
to get
right.
an idea. Yeah.
Yeah, you can access what's happening throughout the month, definitely through the website and also through social media. So if you're a Facebook user or an Instagram user, things are also listed there.
Right.
Of course, you can register for any of the activities. I think this week there's a Caribbean cooking class that will be happening, as well as an African cooking class that will be happening too, all online. And you can purchase the ingredients and make it along with the people that are preparing, or you can make them after. So, yeah.
Yeah. Talk to us a little bit about the balancing of like for especially for Jindaya. She's you're born here, Jindaya is born here, but at the same time we are so cognizant of our roots, right? We want to treasure, we want to hold on, preserve our roots as well. And then there is the Canadian cultural experiences that we have grown up with, right?
Yeah.
How are you doing this, bringing all of these together in this beautiful mosaic of cultural mix?
hmm So if to start with myself, so when my parents came to Canada, namely to Thunder Bay, their goal was to have their children assimilate, correct? Like
Mhm.
they wanted their children to be Canadian. They
Right.
left their country for a reason. There was opportunity here, so they wanted us to seize that opportunity and take advantage of education, safety, and everything else that Canada and namely Thunder Bay had to offer. So in saying that, my parents, it's not that they lost our culture, that it was just harder to encourage both, to encourage being a Guyanese woman, so a Black woman in Thunder Bay, as well as being Canadian. So they chose, you're going to be Canadian. It was the clear decision that they made. So fast forwarding to now, being a mother and raising my daughter, I didn't want that. I wanted Jendaya to know her roots.
Mhm.
I didn't want her to get to the phase in life where she was searching for her roots. Jendaya is also, she is mixed race. Her father is from Thunder. He's an original, true original
Mhm.
when it comes to life in Canada and his roots. So it's quite easy for people to find um, the Caucasian culture, the English culture, the whiteness, because that we're surrounded by that. But it is harder to find the African Caribbean parts here in Thunder Bay. So traveling has always been a big thing for us to access. You know, we've been to some great places
Mhm.
that Jinde has definitely been able to experience our
Mhm.
culture.
Right.
And we have an incredible network here in Thunder Bay. Like we absolutely do. Jende is surrounded by amazing aunties. Auntie is the word that we use in our culture for our female respected women. My friends are
Okay.
aunties
Right.
to Jendea.
Right.
So through CAMET, Jendea receives a lot of traditional teachings and communication and connection to other children of African Caribbean descent. So it's definitely, it exists. It exists more than people probably realize, but it's
Mhm.
something that you have to access. You have to want that, and I wanted that for my daughter, so therefore she has it.
Mhm. How was your experience growing up in Thunder Bay?
You know,
We are quite woke now, but when you were during 1960s and late 60s, 70s, what was the experience? What was your experience? What were your parents' experience? Settling down in Thunder Bay, northwestern Ontario, a remote part of the world. How was it then?
yeah. Which this is another popular question I get from people. Well, how was it? And business wise, I have a fair bit of business traveling and stuff prior to pandemic that I would do, and I would meet other people of
Mhm.
African American descent and or African Canadian Caribbean descent. I would tell them that well, I'm from Thunder Bay. Thunder Bay? You're from the bush, where? I didn't think there were any black people up there. I hear that
Exactly
a
the
lot.
point.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. But I would have to say that my experience growing up in Thunder Bay as a young child throughout teenage years into early adulthood, it was amazing. Now, some people would say, I'm trying to find the best words to explain it. So for myself, and I have 7 siblings, and we were all raised
In
in
Thunder
Thunder
Bay.
Bay. Yes, people left as they went away to go to school, and then some didn't return when they left to go to university. Um, so we were almost like this black family that was almost this royalty of the area that we grew up in, right? It was, and it probably because just ignorance on people's part.
Or
They
maybe it's just uniqueness. Yes.
Yeah, I'm not sure of the exact word to use for it, but it didn't feel wrong. It
Mhm.
wasn't until I was an adult where people pick out, oh, these microaggressions and this and that and these other things that
Oh,
surround
I see.
people,
Interesting. Yeah.
yeah, that surround people's lack of knowledge of culture. Did I stop to think, oh, maybe that wasn't so great? But in my heart of all hearts, when I settle in and truly think about and feel it was a good experience growing up black in Thunder Bay. It truly was, in terms of I think racial ignorance exists all the time. People want to touch your hair and ask questions about your hair and touch your skin, but that's just
Oh my God. Hmm.
okay. That's just people not having that experience, and there was a bit of that throughout growing up. And some people would think differently than me and would be very annoyed by that and call that racism or call. And I don't want to minimize people's feelings that do feel that way because that is a true feeling. But in terms of growing up black in Thunder Bay, our experience was great. It truly was.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Hmm.
And as a businesswoman, you're that's commendable first and foremost. Anissa, congratulations
Thank
on
you.
that achievement. So you're a businesswoman, black woman. How was it? How was that part of the experience? What
Yeah,
was that experience like?
right. And that's another thing that I truly never did consider. It would be another thing where I would get a reaction from people,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right? Because the field that I'm in is primarily a field of Caucasian people, a pretty good balance of black and, or not black, sorry, men and women. Um, so it wasn't anything that I thought anything of until I would get that reaction from people. Oh wow, so you're up in the bush, and you're black, and you own a business. How is that?
Mm.
Can I say fantastic? Because that's
Wow.
all I want to say is fantastic. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. I'm so happy to, hear because Thunder Bay is a melting pot
Yeah.
of, diverse communities. We have people from Europe, Asia now. Yeah, Asia now. How the composition has changed even since the time I have moved about 8 years back. I would say 8 winters back.
Mhm.
But yeah, but the composition is changing. The profile of the community is changing. Demographics are changing, and in that in that melting pot, finding our own, identifying ourselves with our own roots at the same time assimilating with whatever the city offers us, which has
Right.
been wonderful for many of us. Many immigrants we have found. We call it our home now. Would you
Mhm.
agree? Yeah, we call Thunder Bay our home now, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. I didn't realize, I was at a meeting not long ago, and they were talking about Thunder Bay being one of the biggest hubs for immigration
Absolutely.
throughout
Okay.
Ontario. Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, talk to us a little bit more about the cultural part of it. So, there's the Black History Month, which celebrates because there is a context and you're remembering history and all the achievements done in the past. With regards to culture, is there any other function, any other event, any other celebration that happens in the year?
Yeah. Well, we always go, our calendar year starts off with, you know, the Folklore Festival, which is in May,
Uh huh.
which is a
Okay.
beautiful event that reflects many different groups and cultures, and that is a big part of our life. And we do. I have cooked over the years. We've taken part in fashion shows
Yeah.
and dance and storytelling. Um, Hair braiding, I don't do that. I do access that service from someone else, but that's another thing that happens at that festival. And it's always something that, if you're interested in finding out more, you will find more, and you will find the people. And there are, like I said, social media is fantastic, the pages that exist, and throughout the year we have a lot, like there is, and we have, and everybody's always welcome to join us. That's how we are. Come and join us, please do. Please join in. If you see that we're having a cookout, come and join in that cookout, and have some great rice and peas and curry chicken, or chicken curry, depending on what part of the Caribbean you're from, how you say it. Jerk chicken. Like, like, we celebrate with our food, we celebrate with our dance. It's a beautiful culture.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, such beautiful stories we get to hear when you're in Thunder Bay, and meeting anybody, your neighbor, your friends, your colleague, and there's an interesting journey. Yeah, how they have moved to Thunder Bay, made Thunder Bay their home, and then how beautifully the entire melting pot is simmering with multicultural flavors and senses. This is wonderful. With regards to gender, growing up in Thunder Bay, yeah,
Mm.
and she's looking. With what lens is she looking racism? If I may say so.
Yeah.
Um, we are continuously, or it's an ongoing discussion, conversation that we're having with regards to anti-racism and the narratives that it accompanies. Uh, how does the young people today, the teenagers, how are they, the youth, not the teenagers, the youth, if I may say so, how are they, looking into the aspect of anti-racism?
Hmm.
How are they joining this discussion or this narrative? And not being an activist or something like that, but they do have a voice and they want that to be heard.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And the key word being the anti-racism, right? That's what our focus is, and would hope that people join us and allies in being anti-racist. Um, and it's too bad Jandea is not here to speak, to let her own words flow out about this. She is very much so a person who is aware and does speak her mind when it comes to racism, and being anti-racist. I think all too often children or youth feel silenced. They may experience that racism at school or something that doesn't quite settle or fit right with them. There's a fallout that happens sometimes if they
Right.
decide to go forth and have a conversation with somebody about that. So this is where we need more people to be allies. It's nice when a situation like that happens, and it's not necessarily the child of color that has to correct the person who's perhaps saying something that's racist, that it could be an ally, somebody that says, you know what, that's not okay to say, and you need to stop saying that. So I think in educating everybody, right, education will reduce that amount of ignorance that exists. And sometimes people say things and they're not realizing the hurt that may cause. I, for one, I have zero tolerance for that, and do not have a problem correcting somebody if I hear something that doesn't sound right. And I would hope that in raising Jendea, because it does happen that people say things and she might be with me. So when that correction happens, that encourages her to do the same. So when she's with her own group of friends and she does correct a situation that could happen, that might encourage friends who aren't of color to also do that, to take part in being, the anti-racist part.
It's such an important message you just conveyed, Anissa. Thank you so much for doing that. Yeah, we have to open our minds and be receptive to people around us, to everybody, yeah, around us.
Right.
All lives matter. Yeah, absolutely. Any last message or word for new immigrants, um, black or otherwise, doesn't matter.
Yeah. Well,
But
for new immigrants, I would first and foremost say welcome to a beautiful city, and share with the community your culture. Share with it. Don't do what my parents did. And no offense to my parents, I understand they did it for survival. They did it for assimilation purposes, but share it, and hold on to parts of your culture and share it with the community as best you can when those opportunities come up, because it is important. It's very important, extremely important for children to have that aspect, right, where they get to remember and hold on to parts of where they came from. We don't want too many people out there searching, not knowing who they are. I think if we can hold on to that and celebrate our differences, celebrate our similarities, celebrate it all together, it's a great thing. Yeah.
I totally enjoyed talking to you, Anissa. Great message. Lots of things that we talk about, and it's time that we even preach, walk that talk. And it was wonderful talking to you, Anissa. Thank you so much for giving us that historical context to begin with about Black History Month. Thank you so much. Thank you, viewers, for joining us on this edition of Global Vibes. Till we meet again, stay safe.